I'm back with another fun holiday tutorial. So today, let's paint this Christmas tree. I kind of came up with a fun way to do it, and I think you guys are gonna enjoy this one. So let's jump right into it. Paintbrushes today, I am using Aqua Light series by Princeton, a round 8 brush and round 4 brush. Don't really use this one except for like doing the highlights, but this is pretty much the only one I'm using today. My palette is Derwent's 24 Ink Tints again. I like the vibrancy of it right now for all of these like holiday things that I'm doing because the colors are a little bit more saturated than my other paints that I normally use. So that's kind of why I'm using this right now. And then some white gouache for the highlight, or use a white gel pen, whatever you got. So first thing we are gonna do is we are going to wet the paper in the shape of our Christmas tree. So it's kind of just a cone shape. So that's what I'm gonna do right now, and probably speed this up because it's gonna take me a minute to get the shape. Okay, once you've got your cone shape wet on your paper, you've added that, then we're gonna go straight into doing the ornaments right now. So I'm going to grab some red and start with my red ornament first. And I like sometimes just mixing a few reds together just to get a really nice red. Now the more water you have on the brush when you come into this, the more it will spread. Now see how that spread so much? Now if I dab off and try and get just mostly paint, it's not gonna spread as much. So use that to your advantage in how much you want these to spread or not spread. I am kind of doing like a medium amount. That was a little bit too small, so I was just showing you kind of the difference. Rinse your brush, and now we're gonna keep doing that with each color, and you can choose different colors. But again, I'm probably gonna just speed up this part because it's gonna be the same exact process, just going through the colors. See how that was a little bit smaller? It's because my paper's starting to kind of dry a little bit, so I can get a little more water on my brush to get them a little bit bigger again. Okay, so that's all we're gonna do on this step. Then we're gonna let it dry. Take out that little bubble. Let this dry. I only used 4 colors for my ornaments. And then once this is dry, we'll come in and start talking about how to put the tree in. All right, so right now it kind of looks like a fun birthday party hat. So let's turn this a little bit more Christmassy. So we gotta get our tree in here. So I'm grabbing light green kind of to start out with for this first layer. So, because we're gonna come back and get a little bit darker on the next layers. So mix up a light green. So now what we're gonna do with this is, it's easier to start in a spot that you have more open space to kind of go to get into the feeling and vibe of doing this. But what we're doing is, it's kind of like our last painting where we're painting around the negative now. So now that we've got these ornaments in here, we can take our green and start to go kind of around these shapes and start to form the ornaments. And the fun part about this right now is, depending on the burst from our paint, we're getting all different sizes of ornaments, which is gonna look really cool. It reminds me of the Grinch Stole Christmas Tree in a way, like the style of that, which is just one of my absolute favorite Christmas movies. And so I felt like we just had to make a full-length video of doing this so that you guys could paint along with me and enjoy doing this one. Okay, I'm gonna start to stop talking so we can speed this up a little bit because this process is gonna take a few minutes to go around all of our kind of ornaments. And if 2 are right next to each other like this, just separate them still with the green. And if they're on the edge, we're gonna let those kind of pop out. This one I kind of filled in green on accident. So I'm just gonna make my tree a little bit thicker. So that makes sense. But we're gonna leave it open and then we'll pull our ornament out when we come back with another pass. And I'm actually gonna throw a star on the top of the tree. So I'm gonna not worry too much about that right there. Okay, that looks good for right now. I am going to let this dry, and then we're gonna come back and put a little bit darker layer of green on top. That's gonna kind of signify the branches. Okay, so now we're gonna just mix up a little bit of a darker green and come in and add just some straight lines. So you'll see. So I'm gonna come in and add just little tiny lines over and over in the spaces between the bulbs. And you can see how this is starting to kind of come together a little bit more. That last step, it's a little bit like, what's happening? Okay, I'm gonna rinse my brush. I'm gonna throw a star on the top, and then we're gonna do the highlight on the bulbs. So I'm just gonna start with a T shape and then do an X. Okay, we got our star on there. Now this is where we're gonna take the white gouache and use it for the highlight on the ornaments. So all I'm gonna do right now is do a little tiny white dot. When you're doing the dot, if you have a bigger ornament, you can do a larger dot, like how I did a larger one on this one, and then do a little bit smaller ones on the smaller ornaments. Okay, now that that's in, you can see it's really starting to come alive and look like the Grinch Stole Christmas Tree, I think. One more step to take it even a little bit further now is I'm going to do a little bit darker value on the bulb, because right now they're a little bit flat because we've only got one value on there. So I'm gonna come in and do a little bit darker on the bulbs, and it's gonna help them kind of pop out and have a little bit dimension to them. And then I might just add a little bit darker green into the tree, and then we're gonna call it good. So I'm just gonna dry the gouache real fast to make sure the whole thing's dry before I come in and start adding that layer onto the bulbs. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take the same color I used for these bulbs, so we'll start with the red again, and add it to the edging, kind of like the bottom edging of our bulb or our ornament. And I'm gonna do a few at a time. And I'm really just making a U shape. I'm just doing a U shape. Then what I do is I rinse my brush, because there's a hard edge right now and it's not blended. And I'm gonna come back in and soften that with just a little bit of water on my brush. And that kind of blends it in so that you don't have that hard edge. Now I can kind of do, like I said, a few at a time. If you feel like it's gonna dry on you, only maybe do one or two at a time, and then just keep doing that process. Same process, I'm gonna do purple. And this is a good time to like kind of fix your shape of your ornament. If it's not what you're wanting it to be slightly, you can kind of play around with it. Like for example, this one on the edge, I'm gonna kind of pull it around and make it more rounded right here. So that was coming in with just water on my brush to soften those lines. Last but not least, we've got yellow. Okay, and you can see those ornaments are like really starting to kind of pop out now and come to life. So I'm gonna do one more layer of a darker green onto the tree, just doing the same thing with those little tiny strokes. Again, kind of one of my rule of thumbs when I'm painting is to get 3 layers onto an object, a light value, a mid value, and a dark value. And I think it really helps it come to life. So with this tree, we did a light green, a mid green, and now we're doing the dark green. Okay, and now because I love, again, adding a light, a mid, and a dark value, I am going to do one last pass on the ornaments, kind of doing similar thing what we did before by adding a darker value just to the edge by doing that U shape. But this time, to get it a little bit darker, I'm probably gonna add the complement into the color to darken it slightly. We did that on the light bulb video. So if you need a refresher, want to go watch that one to see how to add the complement, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to speed it up though, just because again, that's all I'm doing is the same exact process that we just did on the bulbs, but I want it to look a little bit darker to get that dimension. And I think you're going to see the difference after. Okay, I got my tree all done. Last step is, if you want, this is optional, is to add just a little bit of snow underneath the tree, because again, I just feel like this is the Grinch Stole Christmas tree. It just has that fun feeling to it. So I'm gonna use a really light blue to come in and just act like it's on the snow outside instead of inside. But if you want your tree to be inside, maybe you could put presents around it and show that it's inside. Might dab some of that off. Hopefully you enjoyed doing this Christmas tree with me and kind of seeing how it came together. At one point in the stage, it kind of was like, where is this going? And that's how painting is. In the middle, it can be a little bit ugly, a little bit unknown if this is gonna turn out, but that's the part with painting. You just gotta keep going, and you can see how those layers built up, and we kind of kept going and adding, and all of a sudden we get this, like, the ornaments are popping out and the Christmas tree looks full and it all comes together. So remember that in your own art, that there is always gonna be that ugly stage, that in between, and if you push through it, I promise you it's gonna be amazing at the end. So I hope you enjoyed this one. I appreciate it if you like, subscribe, comment, do all those wonderful things. Have a great holiday season, and I'll see you guys next time.